have a clipboard. Number one. I take these with me. It's an interior scope sheet, right? It lets me like list out what's wrong with each room and whatever we got, right? And then on the back, I'm probably gonna erase this, but you like sketch out your rooms and you can erase them and do whatever you need to do. What else I need? This probably in here. Can't do an inspection without this. This is my laser measuring tool right here. It's best friend right here. Put it right inside of my clipboard. What else do we need? You should always have regular measuring tape with you too, just in case like your laser measure dies or you're getting into a space that it won't pick up, like a very small space. I know we have a bunch of them, so let me go find them. There she is. All right, so we're gonna go see the water loss, right? So I don't need any like roofing supplies or anything like that. But like I said, I need my clipboard. I need a regular measuring tape. I always take my laser. I have a scope sheet here just to make sure I keep myself on track as to what's damaged. And then I always take like regular paper too. It just makes sense to keep some pencils with you. And that's what we need for an interior inspection. All right, so we're about to go into this water loss. I believe this lady had a water heater burst at her house. And it came from the second floor down to, I believe, the attic, I believe, down to the first floor. It's all right, we'll go on. I'm just trying to prepare myself to figure out where the origin is. I always like to start where the loss is. And so first thing, I'm going to know where my surroundings are. I need to know where I'm at, where this house is. So sometimes I'll drive past the house before I even go. Just so I can kind of get a feel like, okay, where should I be? Sometimes I like to be a little early so I can kind of do that. And then, of course, I never park in their driveway. Okay, I don't like parking in people's driveway. It's kind of disrespectful. And so I park just on the street somewhere. And I like parking on the street somewhere anyway, just in case if I need to get out. I don't like being locked in someone's driveway anyway. I hope that makes sense. So I just want to find the path of least resistance for myself if I do need to get out, just because you're going into someone's house. You've never met this person before. You have no idea what you're coming into, and this is their comfort zone. So you really need to pay attention to your surroundings and have your head on a swivel. I keep a box cutter on me all the time in my car. Just in case.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But the idea is I just want to have my head on a swivel because I'm one person. When I get into this place, I'm going to have the homeowner walk in front of me and show me everything. I don't ever allow anybody to be walking behind me while I'm doing these things or going through these houses and stuff, just because it makes me uncomfortable, and you never know. I'm going to get whacked in the head, behind them. And this is their comfort zone. So if they do open up a door, or if we open up a door and something get them, it's going to get them first because they opened it, not me. We're just coming to assess some damage. We're going to get some photos. We're going to take some scope notes because I need to put together an estimate for the repairs for this house. So that's the plan.
For the content.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, lady.
Hi.
Having us out for this.
How's it going?
Okay.
Cool. All right, before I get in, I need to take a couple pictures. I need to take a picture of the front of the house.
Yeah.
We're trying to have good habits out here, so I need a picture of the front of the house, and I do this because when I start to write my estimate, I want to know what house I'm dealing with. And so I need a picture of the front of the house, and then I need a picture of the front number. Same thing, could be on the street, it could be on the mailbox, whatever. So we're gonna get that front number right there, and then now I know that after every picture after this house is going to be for this house. Okay, and then later today when we go to our next inspection, I'll have another picture of another house, and then I know to keep myself organized where everything is. So I just want to be in good habits as an inspector, whatever I'm looking at.
Okay.
So cool. All right, so go ahead, you lead us, you take us.
Sure. I'm gonna send you the because I do a lot of walking.
I'm dropping everything.
You fired.
I'm dropping everything. I've already been fired. You hired me and then fired me again.
All right, when did this occur? Like, when did the loss happen?
August 11th.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Perfect. All right, so first what we need to do is, I need to get the measurements of this room, okay? Because we need to figure out how big the space is so that when we account for like the cabinets, which I'm sure were over here, cabinets were down here as well, we need to know how big all of this stuff was, okay? And so I'm gonna use my regular piece of paper today just to make it easy on myself. But I'm just gonna sketch out the room. Cool. All right.
Before we were.
I like to sit in the middle of the room too and like start wall by wall just because it's not a perfect square. I like to put this paper behind me too. It's like this little paper that keeps me straight, right? It's really cool. But doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect still.
I have a box.
Something like that. Doesn't need to be perfect. These are notes just for you. Like, you're just trying to get a feel of where the space is. So we got a doorway here. I got another doorway over here. So I'm just trying to account for these things because they exist. I'm not going to paint over them. Someone needs to say where they are. That right there, it's called a missing wall, right? We erased a part of the wall so you can walk in and out of the dining room. And so I will probably sketch the dining room as well, just because they got damage that goes into there. Okay. But I'll separate the rooms. But go ahead, just account for the missing wall here as well. Yeah, we're doing this is Property Boot Camp 3.0 in real life. Because this is exactly what I do with our students. We just sit here and practice sketching things out and sketch the room out as we see it. Yeah, so okay, cool. So now that I have like somewhat of a rough sketch of what the room looks like, next thing I'm going to do is I need to account for where these cabinets and things exist. All right, I'm going to look at the photo that they sent me because that photo is going to tell me kind of where things were placed, what it looks like. You don't always have the luxury of that, but if you do, that's why when she asked me if I want to see the photos of what it looked like before, I do, definitely. There was a kitchen island right here in the middle, and you can tell too. Look, this is just with experience. You can tell that there's something that was here because there's no flooring underneath. Right? That's why I tell my students all the time. I'm like, you're not going to pick the cabinet up or the kitchen island up just to put some flooring underneath it, right? So we block it out. And so inside of Xactimate, I need to record where the cabinets were so that it blocks that area out. And then if we replace the tile flooring in here, if there's something that's damaged or if we need to account for it in some way, it's at least subtracting these spaces out for us. Right?
So that's $61.
After.
New inside and outside trim. Of course, paint that trim and of course install the door.
Turn on our laser.
Programming.
Well, make sure your laser is set in feet and inches because that's how we see everything in Xactimate, right? That's how I record everything. I want everything to be in the same language. Feet and inches. So I'm going to take it to the end of this wall. I'm trying to see where the end of this flooring was. So that's really where I'm going to stop this room for myself. Take it from wall to wall. That laser shoot over. Just click once. And that'll tell us how long this wall is. It's 9 foot 10 inches. So for me, I'm just going to record that measurement right up here. Big 9, small 10. That means feet and inches to me. Okay. Then from there, I'm just going to work my way around the room until I finish up with every wall, until I get a complete room.
So this is a pantry, right?
This right here?
Okay.
I'm gonna open it up too.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
So 1,600 is
Just that.
to install it, but not the. Yeah, I found it this day. He said it.
5. Then last measurement. Here to there. Grab it one more time. I'm trying to rock with stud, so it's,
Yeah, you got
yeah, I got
very little.
very little space to work with. Easy. All right, so now that I've got the measurements of the room, I need to take the measurements of the ceiling first, right? It's not a normal ceiling height, I'm pretty sure. I can always feel when it's not an 8-foot ceiling. It's much higher. It's a beautiful custom home, it seems. So you can tell that they have higher ceilings. So I'm gonna take my laser measuring tool, just sit it on the ground, take it to where the ceiling starts. That's the actual ceiling drywall.
Yeah.
And that is behind the drywall. All right. 9-foot ceilings are what they have. So I just want to account for that because we're going to paint the walls in this room, right? And so when we paint the walls, we need to know how tall the walls are. So 9-foot ceilings are what they have.
Got a question.
Yeah.
So what's the normal height of the ceiling?
Oh, normal height of a ceiling is about like 8 foot.
Okay.
8-foot ceiling heights. And you can kind of feel in a home like when it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So 8-foot ceilings is your standard. All right. So now that we have the shape of the room, we know how tall it is. I'm gonna get the measurements of the openings.
Space, you're just measuring that to subtract what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah. We need to subtract out the space because if we pay to paint for it, we're overpaying. Can't do that, right? So you want to be as accurate as you can, and so for me to be accurate, I need to record where the openings are too. I'll even record like these little pony walls here. I'm gonna get these too, just because it's important to say how big it is, and then we know how much paint actually is here. These are double doors, we would consider them. So you always take the measurement from casing to casing, because this is the opening itself. This is the door, but we're not going to paint this, right? Or paint over this. So I need to account for the opening. Cool. All right, so last thing we need, measurement-wise, is the cabinets. But I don't even really need to account for the cabinets because I already have the measurements of these walls, and they're along the walls. So I think I'm good. The only one I do need to account for is this kitchen island right here. Yeah, so easy enough. Not too big, so I'll just take my laser and put it here. About 4 feet. So now for the fun part. We need to say what's wrong with these rooms, okay? So we need to figure out where we'd like to start, and I'd like to start normally from where the loss came from. So this loss came from upstairs. So I'm gonna start from the top and then work my way down material-wise, okay? So I'm gonna just list off the materials that we have, maybe put a measurement next to them just to say how much I need to be replacing as well, unless it's everything. But let's get to it. So first thing we see is insulation. So I'm going to start from the top here. The framing looks fine. I'm not going to touch that at all. But there's insulation. If you can't see it, yeah, I know that it exists because it's over there. It's over here. It's here. See that? That's okay. And so I might ask them if they had if there was insulation that came down in here. For sure, I could tell. Your house normally doesn't look like that. So we need to account for how much drywall is missing as well. It's the majority of the wall, so it's a possibility that we'd be taking care of a lot of it. It's the majority of the wall over here. It's the majority of the ceiling, right? So I'm going to take care of the ceiling drywall first, just because, like I said, I'm starting from the top, and then we'll work our way down to the rest of the area. So I'm going to kind of round and square this thing off. The best way for me to do it is I'm going to start from this point and say this is the end.
Yeah.
Alright.
We're going from here down.
Alright, something like that close. It's about 12 foot 7 inches. And so right over here I'm putting, okay, I'm replacing the drywall. Because the drywall, I'm replacing it only because they probably had a mitigation team out here and they removed it beforehand. So they've already sent in a bill for that. I need to account for it to be replaced only. So it's 12 foot 7 inches by, again, I'm about to square this off the best I can. So I'm going to come from back here and then like try to use that stud right here as my stopping point. I think I got it. almost 9 feet is what that is. So 12'7" by 9 feet is what I'm gonna call that, okay? I'm squaring it off. I can adjust whatever I need to later when we get into Xactimate. But we got the ceiling drywall there, okay? The reason why I'm telling y'all the difference is because ceiling drywall and drywall on the wall, they're different things. They're different types, different widths, okay? And so I'm gonna get the ceiling drywall taken care of. And then now I'm ready to work my way down. There's nothing else on the ceiling that I think we need to do. The lights seem like they're okay, they're in place. There's no crown molding or anything here, so we're done with that. So I'm working my way down to the wall. So now I got this wall right here. This wall, it had cabinets on it. But before it had cabinets on it, it had drywall on there, okay? It's also an exterior wall. Again, I need to kind of get a feel as to how they have their insulation set up in this house. But most times in exterior walls, that's where insulation is sitting, so that none of the elements can come into the home. So I want to assume that it was there. I'm pretty sure that it was. I'm gonna act like it was, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and replace the wall drywall now. And that measurement is going to be for this entire wall, so I don't have to do, that's why I love taking my measurements beforehand, because I'm pretty much getting what I need and I can adjust. So I know that this wall and this length is what, 9 foot 10 inches is what I have here. So I'm gonna say that I have 9 foot 10 inches by, what's the ceiling height? 9 feet. We're saving ourselves some work here, guys. That's why I sketch first. Okay, so I just got what I needed for the drywall, at least on this wall. Okay, I have this wall here as well, and so what I can do inside of Xactimate is I can add drywall to it. I can have this one item and add them all together if I need to. So that's what I'm going to do once I get into the system. So let's just say how big this one is. Look, we already got the measurement for this wall, don't we? Man, easy. I do need to figure out how tall it is, but that's easy enough. Okay, so I'm going to say we're going to replace how much of that. I got 6'5" is how much cabinetry I had in that area, plus 5, because that's that area right here, plus I might grab this one just because I can't see behind it. All right, and get the measurement for this end. I have 3 foot 3 inches. Okay, and all of those measurements we need to figure out how tall it is that we're going to be replacing, right? Because we knew how long it was based upon me grabbing those cabinet measurements. But now I'm going to go ahead from the highest point and just say that I'm going to replace the drywall from here on down. About 4 foot 8 inches is what that is. So I'm grabbing these measurements. I'll plug all this into Xactimate. I am not a math girl, so Xactimate to do the math for me as long as I tell it what to do. Okay, so we got drywall on the walls. After that, we can go ahead and we can say we want to replace those cabinets that were there as well. Okay, so the cabinets, we already have the measurements, so I don't need to do much. And you just need to know the linear foot of the cabinet. That's kind of the key to this too. You need to know how things are measured. Like, you have to know that drywall is measured in square feet. That's why I grabbed 2 measurements. You have to know that cabinets, they're just measured in linear feet. They have a standard height, and so we need to say how long it is in the system. So you need to know how to bob and weave in between while you're writing your notes and when you get into Xactimate. Typically that's what they'll do. The insurance company, they'll pay for like the boxes to be replaced, but they'll want the faces to be kept because they can possibly like sand, refinish them, make it look like it was new. And so that's why they'll keep stuff like this. They keep the countertops as well. So if they can try to put the countertops back on, that's one of those harder things to do though, because it's rock. You see, it's probably snapped in places and things like that. And so that's the type of stuff that like, hey, like they may not have paid for that ahead of time, but if I take photos of that and show the insurance company what that is, they'll go ahead and be like, oh, let's account for the countertops too. And countertops are not cheap. Not at all. So, onto the floor. We are done. Got everything we need. Sorry for the chicken scratch. Alright.